Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, Minister. This morning at the EDSO press conference, epidemiologist Dr. Colin Furness called for universal rapid testing in our schools. Citing that the number of the voluntary rapid testing thus far since February has been lackluster. Are you looking at universal rapid testing? Similar, he referenced children at school, they get checked, their hair checked for life. If it's just done, can we just do universal rapid testing in our schools?
So if the opinion of the teacher unions is that we have to mandate testing on children, we will disagree. We think it's important actually to ensure testing is accessible, which is why, in addition to the Ministry of Health and Ontario Health, who's the main delivery agent on testing in Ontario, always has been and will remain so, they're offering testing to in the words 16 to 19,000 kids in the last week alone, under 19, significant access to testing. In addition, in the Ministry of Education, in 2021, responding to the second and now third grade, we have our own system in place where we go into schools, send emails by the principals to staff, to families, encouraging them to come on over a successive period of days for access to either the rapid antigen test or the PCR test. Sometimes they offer both, sometimes they only offer the PCR. The bottom line is we have stepped up access to testing because we want to make it accessible. To your point, making it universally accessible is our government's priority, which is why for April break, for example, we're ensuring all assessment centers are made available for symptomatic as they were, and now asymptomatic testing, which is a significant scale up of access. So we know that there's a place for testing to keep schools safe. It's why we've enhanced access right across the province, and we're going to continue to urge families, particularly for those that may have had some aversion to testing in the past, look, folks, this is low, non-invasive or less invasive testing, saliva-based often, or the lower nasal, where it's not uncomfortable for children. It's in your community, it's in the schools your kids go to, you learn every day. It is free, and most especially it's done in a very professional, clean, and safe setting. And I think it's important for those that are comfortable to go to their local school, go to their assessment center, go to their pharmacy, get a test before your child returns. Let's make sure as a community, as a Team Ontario approach, as our Premier often says, we really look out for each other and our neighbors. If we do that, these kids will return on the 19th with confidence, with a heightened level of vigilance, and I think we'll allow all of us to breathe easy knowing that our kids are learning where they belong.
Follow-up?
When it comes to the asymptomatic testing in our schools, unfortunately, we've only had about a voluntary turnout of about 1% of the population of students and staff in our schools. Do you feel it's fair and a fair representation of the active cases that we have to continue to share percentages like 99%, 98% of students have not tested positive when we're only actually testing 1% of them? Is that an accurate depiction? Are we playing perhaps politics and spinning the numbers?
Yeah, let me just correct you there. The asymptomatic testing is a voluntary testing program that is set aside through the Ministry of Education, publicly reported. The province of Ontario in this nation has one of the lowest rates of positivity in the nation. Full stop. That's not according to the Ministry of Education data. That's according to data available by every Ministry of Education of Health that is publicly accessible in this country. With respect to testing, the Ministry of Health has provided access to testing through assessment centers for all symptomatic students and all symptomatic families and staff. That is the data point we rely on. The fact that in this country we have one of the lowest rates of COVID amongst children under the age of 19. That is the data point that is most relevant. When it comes to active cases.
We want to take it live now to City Hall, where officials are talking about the COVID-19 response and reacting to some of the restrictions announced today. The mayor is speaking.